Well, shalom. I haven't made a video before about one of the most popular videos on this channel, which is called "Did the Vatican Create Islam?" And I put this on my channel after I travelled to East Africa, and I seen that there was many Muslim converts there, but there was also many Christians, Orthodox, Coptic Ethiopian Christians, which had basically became Muslims in name so that they could take more wives, because in the Orthodox Church they only believe that the man should have one wife, one man, one wife. But some men in Africa, they say one man, as many wives as possible. So some of them convert to Islam so that they can take more wives. But I thought that it'd be interesting because the original person that made this video, which I didn't make this video, but when I was trying to find this video, when I was in discussion with some Muslims there in East Africa, it was coming up that it was unavailable because the music that was being used there was copyrighted. Okay, so what I did was I took the 3 videos. When I got back home, I made a point that I wanted to put these videos on my channel, and so when I got back home, I took these 3 videos and made it one long video, and I also introduced basically the music that would last for the length of the video. I had about 2 choices, and I chose. There's much controversy about the music that I used for that video. They're like, where did you get that? It's basically standard YouTube music. It's uncopyrighted, so that I can in fact reach my friends there in East Africa so that they could actually view that material. And that's the reason I put that video up on my channel. And of course I was quite surprised at the reaction it got. It got many views, in which most of my videos in the past, I've actually made topical videos, and I've actually seen YouTube deduct viewing figures from it, like actually doing it real time. That I'd put a video up and it would begin to maybe, let's get 100 hits per half hour, and then I would look at it, and then it would sort of freeze at 200. This was before it used to freeze at 300. Now I believe it freezes at 300. This is quite a standard thing, but it was actually before that I was noticing that not only were YouTube taking viewing figures off of my videos that I was making, but some of them they were actually taking down as well, and they took down another channel a while back, again for just reasons. I mean, Mark Dice's channel was taken down a couple of weeks ago, but because of the pressure of the people, that they wrote to YouTube and said it must be reinstated, and YouTube did it, because there's no valid reason that they took it down in the first place, probably. Usually they take videos down for copyrighted material. Music's one of the main things that they've been has been one of the main issues in videos. When I actually started the End Times website, I actually made 7 main shows regarding 7 main topics that the Lord spoke to me about, and I had rabbis and ministers come out to my house to view these shows. Sometimes I had video evenings. I've travelled abroad. I've been to churches showing certain videos, in which early on the Lord got me to write a book called Starstruck, as we know. But I've basically spoken on that topic in quite a number of occasions, even though the book itself, as you see it just up there, I still got 2 copies there, but the book itself hasn't sold that well, to be honest. And for the reason for that is it's had no constructive or deconstructive criticism, because people for some reason are just not reading that many books these days. Okay, but the people that have read it have really enjoyed it. And I wrote that when I was 20 years old, less than 20 years old. I was baptized when I was 20, so it was one of my all-time ambitions to write a book, and I had that book in me. I've got several other ones in me, but the point is that I'm not going to waste my time writing them if there's no audience there that are going to buy them. That's basically the reason that my writing career at the moment is non-existent. Okay, so again, just going back to the topic of this video, which is, did the Vatican create Islam? Now, whether it's true or not, I do find it a very fascinating subject. Okay, it is a very fascinating subject. If there's evidence for this, in which a man called Alberto Rivera actually stated that he was a Jesuit priest and that he was taught and shown that the Vatican did indeed have a heavy influence in when they actually put the Quran together. And if you actually check the history, there was Catholic priests that were involved in putting the Quran together. There's quite a lot of historical evidence linking Islam to the Catholic Church. Now, certainly today, there doesn't seem any political reason whatsoever. It doesn't make sense to people. They think, why would the Vatican create like an arch enemy for itself? But back then, what the Catholic Church were trying to really do is stop the spread of Christianity. And basically, real churches and real Christians, the word of God was actually spreading really fast all over Africa and the Middle East and Europe. And basically, they created this beast, as it were. You could refer to it as a beast. That I don't want to be impolite to any Muslims that watch this, because I do respect their religion. Actually, I do see a great many positive things about the religion of Islam. But in this case, I believe it was created politically to actually halt the spread of Christianity. And what they did was appeal to certain men's, I guess, desires. And basically, they made it possible for a man to, for instance, marry more than one wife, like in different other things that really appealed to men at that time. So it meant that basically Islam began to grow quite fast, and whereas Christianity, of course, it's always been persecuted, but basically through that persecution, it's actually it's actually created a lot more Christian converts than when there wasn't any persecution. So the original intent of the Catholic Church perhaps had a great hand in creating Islam. Actually, again, it backfired on them. And there actually became a lot more Christian converts during that time. Now, obviously, any religion that says it's a religion of peace, then it must carry a peaceful message, and it must love its neighbour as itself. Okay, that's the first indication that if it's truly a religion that's pleasing to God, then the people that are observing that religion will love God, and they will love their neighbour as their self. And as Christ said, you know, your neighbour could be a Sumerian, your neighbour could be someone from a different country, which during that time, the Jewish people were, of course, very racist. But what Jesus Christ said, the parables that he spoke to the Pharisees and the Jews at the time were very shocking. And what Christ seemed to be saying is that when he spoke the parable of the Good Samaritan, that he said that it was the Samaritan who was doing God's will by taking care of someone who had been beaten up, okay, for the sake of, it could have been robbed, it could have been for money, it could have been religious reasons, but what that Good Samaritan did was take care of that man, basically dress his wounds, feed him, and basically put him in a safe place so that he can heal. And that's what Christ said, was that was pleasing to God. Christ never gave any examples where he said that, to form an army and attack Jews. That's not what Christ spoke about, because Christ's kingdom is not of this world. What Christ was saying is, if you truly want to know God, you have to be born again. You have to be born again. Now, regardless of who you think Jesus was, or whatever the reason is that you think that Jesus came to this earth, even if you just study what his words said and what his teachings were, you'll come to understand that truly he's a man of peace. Truly his kingdom is not of this world, but will be coming to this world. Okay, and there is many points in the Quran that are the same as the Bible, which I've learned over the years, is that they both believe in an Antichrist who's going to have a short reign before the second coming of Jesus Christ. Both Islam and Christianity actually believe there's going to be a second coming of Jesus Christ. Okay, and the Bible supports many things that Muslims actually do as well. This is the very strange thing, because in the church there seems to be a lot of hypocrisy today, as well as in many other religions. But the real question is, are they preaching the gospel? And in many churches today, it just seems that the answer is no. They're not even preaching the gospel as it was actually preached in the first century right through all the persecution in the Middle Ages, that they just seem to be linking their faith now to political events. And Christianity was never really a political animal, but certainly Islam certainly is a political animal, but Christianity has never really been a political animal. It's always kind of just been about preaching the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ and just leaving it at that. And basically governments forming nations. If it's a Christian nation, then you'll get Christians involved in that government. But then these people have to deal with trade issues. They have to deal with worldly people. They have to deal with many powers in high places that manipulate and are constantly making money from these trade agreements. And obviously these people are spoken about quite a lot on YouTube and other places on the internet today, which we all know that they exist. But the real point is that if you're a Christian, just get back to preaching the gospel, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with your neighbours. And if what Alberto Rivera was really saying was a bunch of lies, then the Catholic Church has really got nothing to worry about, because if the Catholic Church is the true religion and it's not lying, okay, and the fact that, let's say, they didn't have a hand in creating Islam, then they have nothing to worry about. I mean, God will be with them, God will protect them. What is there to worry about? But the fact is that if it's true, then why did Alberto Rivera and many other people like him end up dead when they started speaking about these things? So it's a very interesting topic, and we all know through studying scripture that the harlot mentioned on the 7 hills, in which there's 7 man-made hills in Rome, which are exactly in the same positions as the star constellation Pleiades, okay, which tells a huge story. If you actually study the story of the Gospel and the Stars, it'll tell you exactly what that's all about, and the fallen angels and so on, that are basically in control of these things, as many videos been made about that topic as well. So today, if you're preaching the gospel and you're a Catholic, then you're in good standing with God. If you're preaching the gospel and you're a Jew, you're in good standing with God. If you're preaching the gospel and you're a Muslim, you're in good standing with God, as long as you recognize who Jesus Christ is, that He's the Son of God, born of a virgin, that He came and died and bled on a cross for the sins of humanity, and rose on the 3rd day, and is now sitting at the right hand of the Father, in which there is no one like Him in creation. Jesus Christ is unique. Jesus Christ shares the attributes and power of the Godhead, in which He said this, by the way, continually, that if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So it's just like if a man has a son, and his son is representing him. If you're a father, you know that, okay? This is not being basically chauvinist. This is just fact, okay, that when a man has a child or children, that's called his seed, okay? But the fact is that, of course, God the Father didn't have sex with any female goddess or queen of heaven, nothing like that. But that before He created the universe, that He basically, there's a great mystery, of course, but we know that Jesus Christ was there before anything was there. And because of Jesus Christ, all things was because of Him and came through Him. And if you read the Gospel of John, you come to understand and realize who Jesus Christ is. And basically, that's all I would like to say about that. So sharing the gospel of peace, remember and love God, and love your neighbour as yourself. Okay, so thanks for listening.